All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Sebastian, Quant, you're always rubbing it in. You're over there in Greece. One of my all-time top of the list places I want to go to. Paulie, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Really hoping to see some decent trades today. Hey, bud, question mark. I don't know if, I don't know. Do I chart earlier this time? No, I've been every single day that you all see me come in and, we start charting together. This is how I would normally do it. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're doing well. We're going to get into some things. But before I do, just a reminder, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Everybody type 1 in the chat if you can hear me, please, and thank you. Loud and clear. Everything sound good? Yell at me if you can't. Elite, good morning to you. Clint. Hello. Let's get rid of this. All right. One person said yes. Hopefully the rest will follow. All right. We're starting out on the NASDAQ as always. 15-minute chart, and I've left my notes up there from earlier in the week. We have taken a trade yesterday on the NASDAQ at the open to go short. Backdoor down towards previous day's low. It did not get to previous day's low. Instead, it oscillated around the closing price and then ended up going vertical and breaking out back up towards the upside. Okay, so we have a high in place. We have a low in place for the week, high and low of the current week. So we have boundaries, high and low. Monday's high and Tuesday's low, and a reminder that this is about templates. This is about trying to find an instrument which is doing the best thing based off of an actual, setup that I can look for. So we've had a breakout day one, peak formation high, a breakout attempt failure, peak formation low, and then now we've gone back to the high. This could have been a lower low. This could have been really just a lower low, right? And then we've gone back to the high. The high could fail. Are we going to fail? I don't know. So the question to myself is, we have a box. Are we going to expand the box up, or are we going to expand the box down? Do I have a trading setup that I can actually go off and look to execute? So we have a breakout now to the upside, first red day. I'm going to pull up my playbook real quick if I can find it in time. There it is. Okay, so we are not in a breakout market so we're not at the high of the current week. We are at the high of the current week, but we're not in breakout going higher, if that makes sense. So I'm going to explain something real quick as far as thought process and why I'm going to go about certain things the way that I am. In a first red day trap sort of scenario, right? Notice how we've been breaking out and we've been going higher. They've closed higher here. They've closed higher here. So this is a breakout market going in a direction. Same thing with this example here. We're closing higher. We're closing higher. We're in breakout in a direction. This is a strong move. It's pulling in one direction. And then you get a first red day, which could be a down close bar in an up moving market if it proves to kind of do that. And obviously the squeeze happens and it looks really good. So the differences in what we have here and compared to or in comparison to what we have currently right now on the NASDAQ, is simply that we are not in breakout at the high of the current week. So if this would have been trading like this, where we're breaking out, and then we get a first red day, I would say, hey, I'm a little bit more likely to consider this a first red day trap template, but that hasn't happened here. We're just on the inside of a high and low of the week. I'm going to skip these ads for you all. Okay, US 30. So as far as NASDAQ goes, let me finish my thought on this. I can trade from the outside, but I'd rather not trade from the inside. So we're on the inside of the current week's high and low. Possibly in an up-moving market, though, from last week. We've been making higher highs. But I don't want to speculate. We've closed outside of a previous day's range. We're at the high of the week. Could be a trend trade. This could be level 3, and we could be starting to break out. I really don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't have a solid template necessarily to go on. So I'm going to be looking at the fact that we've broken out and the market only does 3 things. That's all I have to go on. They've closed outside of a previous day's range. I'm going to project that across, and this is the only thing that I can look at. These are my levels. All right, let's go to US 30, see if we can find something better. I spent a lot of time talking about that one, even though that I really don't see much on that I could go off of. US 30, we're at the high of the current month. We've gone and extended the high of the current month up. Beginning this week, we had that first red, and then we get an inside bar, and then a continuation to go higher, completing an expansion of that range. And then now, obviously today, this is where we're at. So in an up-moving market, we did make this. We triggered the previous day's low, which could be a lower low. And then they've gone back to the high and extended it. What do I look for today? I really don't know. We've closed in breakout. We've closed really far outside of a previous day's high. And then we're kind of just floating here. We've broken down on the day, and we're making lower lows and lower highs. Do I look for the short? Is that an actual setup? Maybe. Maybe we're at the high. We're coming off of a peak formation of the high of the week. Maybe we're going back down. I don't have a good signal day. I would have to take this as a 3-day pump for a dump, reversal setup, lower low, day 1, low of week. Day 2 has broken out. On day 3, is the breakout going to succeed or is it going to fail? And that is the only setup that I think that I could probably go off of at this point. All right, let's go to gold. See if I can find something a little bit more clean. All right, gold has gone up for an excess of 3 days starting from Friday. We had a peak formation low put in on Thursday and a peak formation high put in on Wednesday. And then they gave us the continuation or the reversal sign or signal on Friday. So first day of longs triggered in, second day, third day. We got 3 days of longs triggered in. And then yesterday on Wednesday, we had a first red day, a day that opened. They tried to go up. They couldn't go up. They broke down. And then it looks like they actually gave some really solid follow through in the afternoon session. Will the breakout succeed or fail? The breakout has now failed over the course of 3 days, or 2 days, excuse me. They broke out and it failed. So we got day 1, day 2, and possibly looking at a day 3 on a Thursday. Low of the week, and this week's open over here. So we pumped it up beginning on Monday, really on Thursday back here, and then now today making lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so before I continue on to the next instrument, I'm going to look at this. Today is really looking like potentially just a session trade kind of day for me. Like maybe I can just find a good scalp and be done. We're making lower lows and lower highs. They have pulled back in 2 bars. So I can consider this as a swing low now. And the break of this level here confirms to me that this is a swing high, which means that on the day, currently, right now, we are still making lower lows and lower highs. Robbie, you said no. I don't know what that means. All right, we're going to go down to the Russell. First green day on Tuesday. Wednesday was a breakout day. Is the breakout going to succeed? Is it going to fail? It looks like I've got something projected. Last week's high. So now we have triggered last week's high. And this is where we're at. Okay, so we could have day 1, day 2, day 3. Is day 3 going to be a continuation, or is today going to be a reversal? Is the breakout going to succeed, or is it going to fail? On the day itself, we are making lower lows and lower highs. And I think that's going to look something like this. So this is our little box that we've got going. I'm going to change the color of this so I can remind myself what this line is, or else I will just get jumbled here. Where did it go? There we go. Let's put this on the right. Robbie, I'll see what you're talking about here in a second. I'm going to put this over here. There we go. So he's saying look for a sell on gold. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's still making lower lows and lower highs. Maybe we're going to get a low-hanging fruit continuation down. We are in breakout. The only thing with this is they've broken out level 1 drop, level 2 drop. Or maybe this is the breakout, level 1, level 2. Maybe we're in level 3 down. We're starting to kind of do this creeping price action down. I'm going to be very careful of doing that. Oil, hoping to find something a little better. Okay, so 3 days of shorts triggered into the market on oil, and we did not get the first green. It was very close. And then today, consolidating, and then going up and vertical, making that higher high. I've got to tell you, there is not much as far as any of these that I would be jumping out of my seat to basically trade. I'm going to look for a 3 or a 3 session or some kind of session scalp that will allow me to enter in. Let's see. US Swiss short squeeze. Let's go take a look at the template. Let's see here. Okay, we've got 3 days of shorts in the market, which means that I'm looking for a higher high to get put in place. It actually looks like they put in the higher high on the 15-minute chart yesterday and then dumped it back down into the low. In a 3 push, 3 stair-step pattern, they consolidated and went vertical. Now they've made a higher high on a daily scale. So we have daily levels being broken, daily higher highs being put in place. Will that squeeze happen today? I don't know. So what I would be looking for, and realistically and ideally, after it's made this big pump up like this, I likely wouldn't be looking for the trade anymore. Not to say that it can't go. That's just not usually what I'm going to do. Normally when something's pumped up like this and they've triggered a level, I'm going to look for the stop hunt back down. Okay, it is now currently 9:30. I have NASDAQ up on my screen, top right. I don't know why, but somehow silver has snuck its way in. I do have US 30 up here, top right. I think I said this, top right. NASDAQ's on the left, is on the top left. I've got gold bottom left. I think gold is probably going to have the highest amount of potential. Oil, I really don't feel good about oil. I don't really know what to look for. They've made this higher high, and then they've came down and they've made this lower low. What day of the cycle is it? And this is the first time that they've triggered the previous day's high. It's just hard to tell what I would look for. Are we at the high of the week? No. Okay. Get my other screen up here. I am dragging a little bit today. I need to wake up. I need to get caffeinated. Here we go. Ready? Ooh, there we go. Time to wake up. Will the breakout succeed? Or will the breakout fail? We made this lower low here. And then they've popped it back up once, twice, 3 times. Yeah, Paulie, it's funny because you and I may be thinking the exact same thing. So what I'm going to do now, we're only 2 minutes into the candle, right? But it's good that we're thinking this way already. We're already building a thesis about what could be happening. They've made the lower low. This could be my anchor. And they've came back up once, twice, 3 times. And then off the open, they've penned and made a lower high. If this bar starts allowing shorts to make money, I might have my session scalp. We might extend the low of the day by 25 to 50 points. And I can execute. But that's an if. That is a big if. Big if. I have not executed anything. I have not put in orders. I have not done anything. I am simply waiting patiently. We're 3 minutes into the first 5 minutes of the open. Okay, and I think there's news. Okay, hold on, time out. Everybody stop what you're doing. I think there's flash services at 9:45. 9:45, flash services PMI. TradingView is trying to play me once again. They are. They're trying to mess with my emotions because every day this week, TradingView has been wrong on the news schedule. Check news setting. I do. I've got it set where it shows only red news. So if it's not here, then TradingView doesn't think it's red. Okay, so I have got to wait for this 9:45 news. I cannot execute anything until after 9:45. Okay, on the NASDAQ, we've got a back and forth opening, so they've created this range high and low in the first 5. US 30 has engulfed in the first 5. We've got a 3 push pattern at the low. I think this is the low of the day, if I'm not mistaken. And they are now pumping it back up. But still in a bearish structure, okay? Even if we are trapping shorts down low, it's still in a bearish structure, so I'm not looking to go long. 10 minutes. Nikolai, good morning. And hello to you. Okay, so if there was not news, how would I be looking to trade this? Well, we have no engulfment down. Now on a 1 minute chart, we do. Okay. On a 1 minute chart, we have this big down closed bar, but this is just a 1 minute, right? So it's a little bit hard to determine that this is a good place to enter because we don't have a 5 minute bar closure. The way that this bar is whipped back and forth, we do have this pop-up bar here and then a little bit of follow through. So maybe looking to execute on that. But normally I really like to wait for the 5 minute closure first. Yeah, I'm waiting for the news. In fact, I'm going to run and grab myself some water real quick. And I'm coming right back. All right. I am back. Still waiting on the news. We got 5 minutes. But we can watch paint dry together for the next 5 minutes. I am hoping that this doesn't follow through prior to me being able to get in. But it's kind of looking exactly like that. Which would be a shame because this pullback is very nice. You know, it's very clean. If you all are sitting in here right now and you haven't already, I do greatly appreciate if you like the video. Maybe say hello. I know a lot of you are lurking in the background, and that's great. But it does help the stream quite a bit. But if not, that's fine too. Continue to lurk away. Hey, I appreciate that. You as well. It's been a good day so far. We haven't had any internet issues or technical difficulties in this stream today. It's going pretty good. German 40 is looking pretty good. Okay. Very nice. Gold is doing some work. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. A 1 bar range. They broke out and immediately failed. Okay, so we have a failure at the low. I think this is at the low of the day as well. So if you're trying to execute and you see this big down close bar, the biggest one on the entire day, by the way. This bar is the biggest bar out of all of these other bars. So what is that telling us? Well, it's either really, really strong or it's the blow-off move into the loss of momentum. So you have a blow-off move. I'm trying to read this as like a in live time, right? How would you read this in live time? Blow-off move, biggest bar on the chart. Question to myself would be, is it going to succeed? Is it momentum or is it going to fail because we're going to pull back, or maybe we're going back for the money or whatever, right? So they attempt to go lower here, and it does fail on this bar here. And then it puts in a higher low here as well. So now we have evidence now of shorts being trapped at the low because they put this higher low in here. When this bar closed higher than this bar, and then when this bar broke out of this bar's high, I would say, hey, this is a higher low. We're probably going back for the money. And then on that 1 bar range, remember they broke out and the breakout failed. Now we have a breakout in the other direction very strongly. And you can see kind of how price, the way that it's being delivered is very different once it breaks out of this range. Why is my screen blurry? I actually don't know. Is everybody else's screen blurry as well, or is it just Nelly? Carlo, hello, good morning. Okay, there is 9:45. That is the news. Not blurry. Okay, good. I mean, not good for you, Nelly, unfortunately, but trap and shift. Yeah, that's a pretty old term. In fact, I think that was a BTMM term. I've heard Steve Mauro say that, trap and shift. Trap and shift out of level 3. Okay, in Q. So kind of like I actually just described here, right? We have big down close bars off the open. Immediately loses momentum and fails to go lower. How do I know that it failed to go lower? This bar went lower than this bar's low and didn't close lower, which could be fine. You know, we could have broken down and gone sideways, and then we're looking to follow through. but we didn't follow through. So now I can continue to assess and stay out. Gold is in breakout now. Good stuff, Nelly. Good to have you back. Hopefully seeing my face all good and clear now, you know. I'm really not seeing anything that I'm excited about. The only thing is on the NASDAQ, they did make this higher high over here. So they made the higher high, they hit it 3 times, and then they tried to make a lower low, and it kind of failed. And then now we might have a vertical parabolic squeeze in an up moving market. Breakout may have failed, or succeeded, excuse me. Peak formation. First 5 minutes of the open, whipped up, whipped down, failed to go lower. Are we going to break out of the opening range? This is a 5-minute chart, so they would have done that within the first 15 or so. One minute and 30 seconds left on this bar. One-minute chart, bars are pulling, little to no overlap. Yeah, Nikolai, I look at the first 5, and then I look at the first 10. And then if they don't break out in the first 10, I look at the first. You can look at the first 15 and look for a breakout of the first 15. I'm not using that as my sole entry method, by the way. I'm not using that as my entry method at all. It's just a consideration that I think about. Okay, I'm still only going to use my entry criteria, which is squeezes, higher high, leading to a higher low or a lower low that fails and goes vertical. Long squeezes, lower low, lower high, or a lower low, higher high that fails and goes vertical. That's the only method that I get in it. So I would have to look at this and say, hey, this was a higher high, and then we have a lower low that has now maybe failed, and we could potentially be going back to the high. But if we go back to the high, I'm going to want to see them expand it. They've triggered the previous day's high, which could have been a daily level higher high. The longer I look at this, push 1, push 2, maybe push 3. Maybe we're going to expand the high of the day by 25 to 50 pips, or one full expansion of the range. A new 5-minute bar has just opened. I've got a 1-minute chart up on my other screen. I will say that I would have felt a lot more confident if we broke out. And we're still under yesterday's close as well. Yeah. That's what I was saying, Nikolai. I think I would have felt a lot better about the long if we would have broken out. Because now what they've done is they've just created a bar that was I mean, it's really big, right? It looks like, oh man, this thing is going to go to the moon. But they've just opened inside of a range, made a really big bar, and then closed it inside of a range. Look at this. We're just sitting on the inside of this. Side of here. Side of here. And they've opened and closed 15 minutes worth of price on the inside of this range. We're in consolidation. And I'm not going to let them screw with me. I'm just going to wait. Okay, gold's made a higher high. Gold has made a higher high. Which means that they, in theory, should be coming back down for a 3-push pullback or some kind of pullback in general. Now, if it just keeps going vertical up, I've missed it. Whatever, you know. It's also 10 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock, coming into 10 o'clock. It's not late in the session, but a little late in the session to be saying things like, well, it just made a higher high, and now I have to wait for 3-push pullback, which could just be 3 5-minute bars, right? So it could be 15 minutes, and we might be looking at like a 10:30 trade or something like that. Frankly, I have not given up on NASDAQ, long or short. I'm honestly I'm good with either one. I have a good, solid reason for both and a solid thesis for both. We start allowing shorts to make money, I'm going to get in. And that's a big F. Again, very big F. I'm just talking my way through it. We start allowing shorts to make money, I'm going to go back to my original thesis, and I'm going to look for a session trade. Shorts are not making money yet. We got a good engulfment. The pattern has shifted a little bit, and I can see it. Still 1, 2, and then now we have 3. Before I was saying this could have been 1, 2, and 3. This bar did close lower than this bar's low. But not a solid, like a really good solid engulfment until here. So this is a little bit more clear now. We got push 1, push 2, push 3. Really don't want to see them let these people out. We're in push 3, P3, that we got the engulfment. We really shouldn't be seeing these guys make money anymore. We should see them completing the pattern, completing the trap. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm wrong. Ooh, is US 30 going to follow suit? We've got this big bar up, gets my attention. Second bar makes me buy. Third bar makes me buy at the worst possible place in the chart. Pin hammer reversal. Are we going to get an engulfment? And by engulfment, I really mean I want to see this bar close lower than this bar's low, and I want to see this guy be trapped. Maybe neither are going to follow. Maybe we're just wrong about all of them. Your thoughts on silver? Let me get my spectacles out here. Okay, where was this? Like this? Okay, so we got a first red day yesterday making lower lows. This big move down was the lower low. 3 days breakouts, lower low, first red day, triggering of the low. This is the golden setup. Lower low, pops back up, push 1, push 2. We can call this a weak push 3, and they start making lower highs, which is good. It looks like the trade was at 8:30. Now that's unfortunate. We have a really strong down push prior to 9:30's open. They traded the low. This did make a lower low, which is fine. I think it should have kept going. If it was going to break out and it was going to expand the range, it was going to go. It's still making lower lows and lower highs, so they still, that could still be a potential. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is this really should have gone? The timing is weird. They've popped it back up. If it is going to follow through, I would have to take it with the thesis that we're making lower lows and lower highs. The bottom of a box has became the top of the box. We broke out. We've pulled back. We've gone into consolidation. We've got P1, P2, P3. And then if it does follow through, I would be looking at expansion of the low of the day by, whatever the equivalent of 25 to 50 is here on gold, or on silver, excuse me. Probably something like that. And that is a big if. If I was forced, and if some extra things started to happen. Devil's advocate, if I'm looking at the other side, they've came down in a fairly large 1, 2, 3 and triggered the low of the day and reversed off of the low of the day. So we've got shorts trapped down in this area here. I'm going to call this in combination P1, P2, and we'll call this P3 in reversal. So we'll say traps below push 2 here and probably at the breakout level, which you can kind of see confirmed by this pin hammer. So we have evidence of shorts being trapped right now, which is probably not good for me going short. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Gold just made a higher high. Why wouldn't gold as well as silver continue down after the pullback currently? Oh, okay, yeah. So I think I might have answered that. Maybe it's coming through a little slow, but I was talking about how there's evidence that shorts are trapped, so I really wouldn't want to partake in that. Okay, this is a new 5-minute bar. We've had an engulfment and basically a breakdown bar, a bar that's gone sideways. Are we going to see follow through on this bar back down through the low, through and to and through the low, right? We are kind of at that point of it's broken down. We have the engulfment. We've got the sideways maneuver. We should be seeing the follow through. If it doesn't and it just keeps hovering here, obviously they're not allowing shorts to make money. Okay, we're looking for an expansion of the low of the day. Not by much, but just a little bit. It's kind of a refusal to go lower. I've tightened up stops. I'm very tight on this. I want to see it expand down. It should just go. I'm not going to play games. So I have a very tight stop in case I am wrong, or just in case that, it's refusing to go lower. That's fine. It's going to happen. And I might get stopped out. But I'm going to get stopped out on very controlled risk instead of, a little bit wider stop. There's no reason for that. Not at this point. Yep, it's failing to go lower again. It's inching down, which is good. The bars themselves are making lower lows and lower highs. That's good. We just need to see it complete, right? We need to see it go lower, close lower than this bar, close lower than this bar, stop wicking down, close. It needs to close a little bit lower. Whereas right now it's refusing to do so. Okay, that bar put in a slightly lower high as well, which is still good, but it's doing that. It's more of a compression than it actually going lower. It's compressing down into the low, which in a lot of cases will lead to rapid expansion back up. Tightening stops more. Okay, so I've just got stopped out for about 5 points. Carlos saying it's stuck in a range. Yep. It sure is. What I did was I waited. It was this bar here. So this bar engulfed, this bar went sideways, and I got in on the follow through here. Okay, and I added to my position as it started to follow through. And I was bringing my stops down. I brought it down to here. And then as it continued to go lower, it continued to go lower without actually going any lower, which is what I was talking about. It could be a sign of compression, which would lead to a rapid expansion in the other direction. I brought stops down here. Then I brought stops down to right here. And then I got stopped out on this bar here. Okay, so I added to my position, but I also very rapidly brought stops down and managed risk. So I was able to keep my loss very small. I'm either wrong, I've entered in possibly in a consolidation, or it's not ready to go yet, and I don't want to be a part of the back and forth. Yeah, Nelly just said it perfectly. Patience, right? I think it was a good read on my part, and I think that my management here was very good. I feel good about it. It would be foolish for me to just re-enter though, because now it's proving to me that we're possibly just going to sit in this range, and we've got a lot of back and forth. Okay, I don't want to be a part of that. This, however, so we ended up putting in that higher low, breakout, pin hammer, continuation, and follow through. Okay, looking like maybe we're going back up. Just maybe. Yeah, it could be. Joanne. Could be. Okay, we've just opened this bar and moved it very low in the consolidation, the range on a 1 minute chart. Now that's a bit of a shame. Worked it right back down to the low. I've not entered. I have not entered. I have still not entered. I would have to enter in at my target. Just about. Which I don't think is worth it. Because I would now be out of the trade. It would have been a winning trade. I'm still happy with my management. I'm just not really willing to re-enter now. Consolidation, high and low. consolidation, high and a low, higher high, and a pullback. It only came down in 2 bars. And it's actually sitting on the inside of a 1 bar range. That's a shame. I'm not going to chase it. I had a really good trade yesterday. I don't have any feeling about needing to take this. I think it'd be a good low-hanging fruit. Breakout has now failed. Lower lows. We could be expanding this range. We could actually be coming down pretty far, but I don't think that I'm willing to execute. Although it does look very good. So it's at previous week's high. Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's like breakout, pullback kind of thing. Maybe. Maybe. Dang, I got quiet there for a long time. That was weird. I wish this wouldn't have shown so much strength necessarily, because it's yes, we're making lower lows, but the way that it's popped back up like this, I mean that's a lot of upwards thrust. And yeah, we got this engulfment now. 1, 2, 3. Slammed it back down. So this bar though, we still got all these people caught down here. This bar doesn't let anybody out. It doesn't even let this guy out. There's no confirmation in that down closed bar. Basically, we have an up move showing a lot of strength, a down closed bar that doesn't let shorts make money. Something feels weird. NASDAQ coming from high of week, yeah. And I think so is US 30. It's also coming off of the high of the current month. We've expanded it higher. We have the notice how once they triggered the high of the current month, how price started behaving slightly different. So we have a breakout, an expansion of the high once, twice, and 3 times, dumps it down, lower low. Of course, that doesn't mean it has to go down. It just means that it's at least pulling back. I am watching gold, though. Oil's going bananas. Okay, we've got 35 seconds left on this bar. Playing Where's Waldo with these trading setups. Where's the guy in the striped shirt? We've got to find him. Notice how this is kind of curled and slammed back up into the high. But we've made this higher high and pulled back. That's why I'm looking at gold. And because, is today day 3? Yeah, possibly. Day 1, day 2, day 3. Yeah, we're broken out. But we could see a potential run back up for the money. How's everybody doing? It's very quiet out there today. I'm feeling quiet myself. I'm telling you, I need to get caffeinated. That's just the truth. That is the truth of the matter. Sitting on hands. Yeah, it's feeling pretty good right now. Yeah, I don't know. I actually had gone long on gold, and I went to break even, and it was probably premature to go to break even, and I just got stopped out for 0.3. I don't know how many ticks that is. 0.3 points. So basically nothing. I entered in on a limit. They came down and tagged me in, and they started to push back up and go higher. I'm not really too confident about the setup, mostly because I just don't like how it's curled like this. Usually when it makes a higher high and it pulls back, it'll sit here and consolidate, and then it'll squeeze aggressively off of the low. This is a fairly shallow pullback, which means that it should follow through and have momentum for the second leg higher. So it would be something like this, where we've got leg one strong, leading us to leg two, and that leg two is going to take us back up to previous day's low, which is where the money is. Right? We have a breakout level here. People have shorted this. They maybe are sitting at break even, and that's the setup, is to go back for the money coming off of the low of the week. We're not at the low of the week, unfortunately. Still watching. Still waiting. Whew. I am starting to get bored. Come on. Let's do something. Let's go somewhere. Let's do something. Pretty please. Please and thank you. Cherry on top. Okay, oil's getting a little volatility, a little bit of movement. Cool. I'm starting to feel as though maybe this is we've made a higher high, we've broken Are we gonna jab up in there? Are we doing a little 3 push right here to go back down? I'm not saying I would be willing to take that, but I don't want to get in on this long if they're just gonna jam me up into the, you know, into this break here. $10.30. This is what I'm looking at on the 1 minute. That's why I'm looking over at my other screen because we've got this big run to and through the high, and it's pulled back. It's making attempts to go back up, but it just can't seem to get there. Oh my gosh, what have I just done? Seems like in Q, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything clear anymore. I'm not seeing anything clearly. Actually, hold on. Seeing if gold wants to follow through and continue now. If we can actually execute on this setup. See if we get a little follow through on this. Slapping it on, huh, Nipsey? Okay. Okay, we got a minute 15 left on this bar, and it doesn't seem like it really wants to follow through. Like it's kind of just playing games at the high. It would be nice to see a strong breakout and just kind of follow through. Uh, get a little breakout. If the breakout fails, that's fine. Twenty-two, 21 seconds left on the bar, failing to get higher. Right in the last little itty bit of the bar, pinning through the high instead of breaking out and going higher. We're seeing a very strong lack or loss of acceleration now. Got to see some volume and momentum come in. Need to see a strong breakout to go higher. We're not getting that. I'm still holding on. I've taken a little bit of size off. I took a little size off because I wasn't really sure. I'm still not very sure. It's not really following through the way that I was hoping. I was hoping for a violent blow off in that direction and then I could just get out. Which we might still see. But this would be my third trade for the day. So this will be my final one. This is my final attempt. And we're entering wedge top territory. What are the trades taken today? I had a break even stop out on gold. I had a break-even stop out on gold. I shorted in Q, but not very well. I followed my plan. I managed it exactly the way that I wanted to manage it. I got in at the break. It wasn't really following through, so I brought stops down. It pulled back one more time and got me. And then it did follow through. So this was kind of a boo-boo, but honestly, in live time for performance-wise, I'm not mad at it. I think I did a very good job managing. I managed myself out of a winning trade, but not based off of emotion. Everything was managed the way that I normally would. Break even stop out on gold. I'm not mad about that either. I think that I'm just going to close this and I'm going to call it a day. Things are not. I just don't think I have a clear setup, and I think this was okay, and it might still follow through. But I'm going to come back tomorrow and see if I can find something that is a lot more clear. And I said it at the beginning of the stream, I don't really see anything that I'm jumping out of my chair for. And I'm likely going to have to go into something with a session scalp thesis, which this was. And I still don't feel good about it. So I think I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to close here. I'm a little negative for the day, but not by much. It's basically break even. I've taken 3 trades, 1 break even, 1 more than break even, but not enough to completely cover the loss from NASDAQ. So I'm basically break even. And that's okay. I've had a really good streak lately, and to end a day slightly negative is not going to be the end of the world. So we'll come back tomorrow. We'll find a better setup, hopefully something more clean. And if not, I've already had a fantastic week, and that should propel us into next week. And hopefully we can have another fantastic week next week, and then the week after that we could probably do another one, and then hopefully the week after that. And then we'll just keep on rinsing and repeating, and yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have a great rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern time, ready to go, ready to trade. I've got a workout to do. I got to get my legs squatting and my back pulling. All right, you have a good rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.